Hey, what's good with you guys? Thank you for tuning in. It's Al Birdman here telling another wrestling story. I had to sport the shirt with my last name on it because this story involves my pops, Pablo Orta. So, whenever I was a kid, we lived out in South Carolina, and we kind of lived out in the middle of nowhere. The only time that I remember ever really interacting with people was during church activities. And, like, to the point of I was homeschooled too. Anyway, one of my dad's associates at church was a professional wrestler. He went by the Stomper. His name was Kelly Fox. I was friends with his friend. Excuse me. I was friends with his son Job for a long time. I still do occasionally talk to him on Facebook, but like, I mean, I wouldn't say we're at that level. You know, I mean, he's got grown kids and all that. But anyway, we went to go watch the Stomper take on another guy. I don't remember who he was working, but I remember the match was a loser eats a can of dog food match, and Mr. Kelly won. And the guy like cheap shot at him, and just left the ring, and was talking shit, to the smack to the referee and everything on the way out, and playing the role of the heel. And I threw a cup of whatever I was drinking into the ring. Whenever I would see that on TV, I'd be like, "Hey, I remember starting out when I was a kid." That's a joke, but needless to say, my pops was not too happy about it, and neither was the police officer I had to talk to about throwing cups into the ring. So, on the way home, my pops felt like he needed to tell me about how much wrestling was a work. And, it was probably a good conversation to have whenever your kid does something like that. But I was like, Dad, I seen it. I saw it. He cheated. But, my dad, this was before Vince McMahon came out and said that wrestling was a work. My dad had already, quote unquote, figured it out. And when my dad was telling me this, I was just like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But his example that he gave to me was that whenever he was a kid, Andre the Giant and a bunch of like big wrestlers at the time would come to town and wrestle at the Bull Barn down in Hereford, Texas, and said of a huge one the Ricky Romero, Rapid Ricky Romero was a huge draw to those deals, and another one that he would mention was that the Terry Funk and Dory Funk Jr. were a very hot tag team at the time. To give you some kind of reference, Terry and Dory both held the NWA World Heavyweight title at one point, and so they were really legit dudes. And my dad was like, they were always like they were always the good guys where I was from. Said, but I went to a wrestling show one time at the Marine Corps Air Station, and whenever they came out and said they were the bad guys and they cheated their way through the match and everything, and I was just like, what is really going on? But he basically said that based off of how all that went down, that he figured it out. That like, oh, this is how they do it. So my pops passed along this knowledge to me as a kid. So when people would start bringing professional wrestling stuff around, like my dad's bass player, my dad was always in a band. His bass player was a huge Hulkamaniac. So every time he mentioned Hulk Hogan, it'd be like work, 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 and this guy would just be so aggravated. Like he probably had every right to choke me out when I was in the second and third grade, all the way on up. But fast forward a little bit of time, so Terry Funk did the if you've ever seen Beyond the Mat, that happened in like 1995. So that was maybe like I was 14 or 15 years old whenever that all happened. Whenever he had a retirement match against Bret Hart, it was his first one. So like if you ever hear me use the term Terry Funk retirement, because I do use that term periodically, like I'm Terry Funk retiring from poker, like I'll be back next week, but I'm out. I'm done for this week, brother. So fast forward a little bit more time. I guess it was 2000. I'd already started wrestling at this point, but I think the company was called UWF or something. Like, they weren't around for very long, but they popped up on the scene. Okay, and like they had everybody that was on like WCW at the time. It's like everybody was at this show. Like Sable was there. Roddy Piper was there. Buff Bagwell was there. That was funny. I cracked that as a joke the other day about how I met Buff Bagwell at a rodeo. He was there at that show. The Wall. There's just a whole bunch of people. Like I couldn't list them all off. But right after intermission, they had Terry Funk wrestled Greg the Hammer Valentine. So I mean, like legit, this was. I mean, they were both older and whatnot, but I mean, I can honestly tell you, I saw Greg the Hammer Valentine come to my town and fight Terry Funk. Terry Funk pile drove him through a table. Epic. You know, I mean, that's pretty legit. Saying that, I mean, Terry was already in his probably up there in his 50s at this point. So fast forward a little bit more time. I'm actually at the fairgrounds is where all these wrestling shows and stuff would happen at. So the fair actually comes to town, and I go to the fair. They have this little like concession area, but they also have people selling stuff. And as I'm walking through the people selling stuff area, I see Terry Funk over there, and he is selling his autobiography. So it's not very often you get to buy somebody's autobiography from somebody. I don't know too many other people that can say they bought their autobiography from Terry Funk. So he gave me a minute of his time, and so I bought his book from him. And he grabbed a permanent marker. He's like, "Jay, where are you from?" And I told him that I was from the Carolinas originally, and we continued talking. And he wrote something down inside the book, and he shook my hand. And we left. Me and my girlfriend at the time left. But as soon as I stepped outside, I couldn't help myself. I had to read what was inside of there. And Terry Funk had written down and said, "Hey Jay, it was nice to meet you." So this book it's a very good book. So I guarantee you this book will be way better than that Banana Nose Ric Flair's book. Real talk. So yeah. Man made it wasn't even a lot, man. Like, probably all of that total time was probably about an hour worth of life. But, I mean, man made an impact. And, yeah, so not a lot of people can say some of this stuff that I get to tell y'all on this. So, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time around. And, y'all be safe out there. It's a blessing. Remember that. It's always a blessing. Say something good about yourselves.